Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the upcoming pattern, which is going to feature Arctic air and also some snowstorm chances, alongside some stormy weather up there for the Pacific Northwest. Now, before I get started with this video, though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. And I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting store in the description and in the pinned comment down below, and then also our very exciting Patreon page in the same location. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, compared to the last few winters, where do you rank this winter? How has it gone so far in your area? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video, and first things first, we're taking a look at the very tail end of that storm down there for the south central United States. Many regions that typically do not see any snowfall saw plenty of snowfall yesterday. It was a very exciting day for many people. But by the time we reach maybe about 11 p.m. tonight on Monday, January 11th, you can see that it is going to head up into the southeast and portions of the mid-Atlantic, but that storm is just not making it far enough north to really bring snowfall anywhere. You can see there is some there for Tennessee and North Carolina, potentially some snow showers, but very limited amounts, and this looked like it had the potential to be a very big snowstorm for the northeast and mid-Atlantic. The timing was just definitely off on this one. It's really sad when you see a lot of potential for a big snowstorm and it just does not pan out, but that's what happens about 50% of the time. It doesn't always work out exactly the way you think it will. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at a new storm system that's going to move in through the Pacific Northwest into the central United States, potentially bringing some major snowfall to multiple different regions. Alright, now here we are taking a look at about 7 a.m. there on Wednesday, January 13th. As you can see, there is some snowfall going on for the Cascade Mountains, or I guess the northern Cascades. I'm not super familiar with this area, so I don't know exactly what you would call that, but basically the Cascade Mountains that are in Washington, not Oregon. We do see some snowfall going on for the northern Rockies as well there in Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. And this is really going to be coming down mostly just for high elevation regions. We do see rainfall in the surrounding regions as far south as northern California and northern Nevada as well. Let's take that to about 1 a.m. there on Thursday, January 14th, and as you can see, this crosses over the Rockies, and now on the very eastern side of those Rocky Mountains for Wyoming and Montana, we are seeing snowfall. That low pressure center is located in North Dakota, there on the border of Canada and North Dakota, as a 989 millibar low pressure center, so that is a pretty strong one to say the least, actually. And what's going to end up happening by the time we reach 1 a.m. there on Friday, January 15th, is this could potentially move back down into the upper Midwest, bringing heavy snowfall there for the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and also as a side effect here, we see that very cold air get pulled in behind it, and that's going to be our next Arctic blast for these central regions of the United States. Very interesting pattern. And it would be quite an extreme one as well. So what we're going to do here is we are going to move on and we're going to take a look at that cold air once it enters the entirety of the central and eastern United States. Take a look at some more snowstorm chances. We're going to move on to some ensemble models later on, and then we're going to start taking a look at some temperature anomalies, teleconnections, and even review my winter forecast a little bit as well. All of those things are coming up in just a moment. So by the time we're reaching about 7 a.m. here on Saturday, January 16th, you can see that cold air has been pulled down for the most part for the eastern United States. The interesting thing here is we are seeing some lake effect snow associated with a low pressure system located over basically the northern peninsula of Michigan there. There is some snow showers basically in the Great Lakes and the Ohio Valley region there, pretty scattered around. You can definitely tell we have a major trough there in the eastern United States. There's also a storm system along the East Coast, and I wanted to emphasize that because if the timing is a bit off with that, if it comes in a bit later, we could be potentially looking at a East Coast snowstorm out of that. That's only 132 hours out, and that's kind of the sweet spot because that's a perfect amount of time for things to change, but also a really good time for us to feel pretty confident that it's pretty close to what's going to happen. So that's pretty much the sweet spot. As we move towards about 4 p.m. that day, Saturday, January 16th, you can see that that low pressure system does develop offshore of the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. There is a 998 millibar low pressure center, and there is actually some snowfall going on there for Pennsylvania, New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, just very minimal amounts. If we do see that timing shift up a little bit and we see a little bit differently than this, definitely could be taking a look at a bit more of a snowier situation there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move on towards more of the tail end there of our European model. We're going to move on towards our GFS ensemble model, take a look at what that one has to say. And then we're going to get into the temperature anomalies, the teleconnections, and a little bit of a review of my winter forecast as well. All of those things are coming up very, very soon. All right, now let's go ahead and take a look at one last frame here on that European model. This is 186 hours out, about 1 p.m. there on Monday, January 18th. So we're about a week away from this. As you can see, there is some cold just generally in the eastern United States, but no storm systems as of right now, according to this model. I think that could change, obviously, but for now it looks cold and dry, as depressing as that sounds. But we will be watching for some storm systems, as there will be enough cold, so there is the potential that the models start to show some storm systems during that cold phase. Here is the GFS ensemble model, and this is around the 16th at about 7 a.m. That's going to be a Saturday in about 5 days from now. And as you can see, it does have some storm systems, according to many of the members here offshore of the East Coast, bringing some snow, especially to the interior northeastern United States, even the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes as well. So many, many regions could get in on some of this. Let's go ahead and take this to about 4 p.m. there on the 18th, and you can see it's basically the same story. Trough in the east, ridge in the west, some snow showing up on some of these members. We're taking a look at about 30 separate members here on our GEFS model, so it gets very averaged out, but definitely just cold in the east, and then kind of just warm for the very immediate west coast. Also very cold in the central United States. You probably saw in the thumbnail, I'm probably the most bullish on the north central United States for that very cold air. It has been set over mostly the southeastern United States. I think we're going to be seeing a major shift in the location of that. I think we're going to get a very northern-based cold air mass pretty soon. I think we're pretty much due for that. Here's some of the temperature anomalies. So this is our GFS ensemble model once again. So this is by about I would say 7 p.m. there on Sunday, January 17th, and there is still some cold air there for the southeast, but also the north central. But by the time we reach about 1 p.m. there on the 23rd, we're looking at a little bit longer range here. You can see cold for the west coast and the north central United States with kind of a southeast ridge setting up, and that has not been the case all winter, but we were expecting this to set up pretty much for months and months and months. So that is one of the biggest things that has not gone according to plan. And then you can see by the time we reach the 26th, about 7 p.m. there on the 26th, the very end of the model run, we have that cold in the west and the north central United States, as well as portions of the northeast, and then kind of warm in the southeast, and then portions of the south central United States as well. Now what we're going to do here is we are going to move on, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the final 5 days of the GFS ensemble models forecast. So we're going to take a look at all 5 days together, and then we're going to compare that to my winter forecast, my most recent winter forecast that I made, my final one. And then we're going to get right into the teleconnections, and then we're going to close out the video. All right, so like I said, here is the 5-day increment from the 22nd through the 27th of January. So this gets us kind of to the end of January here. As you can see, just warm in the south central and in the southeastern United States, with some very deep cold for the north central United States and the northwestern United States, and then some cold creeping down to the southwest, but much weaker for those locations. Same story for the northeast. Some of the interior northeastern United States is dealing with some below normal temperatures there, but just much, much weaker than some of those more central United States. When you compare that to my winter forecast, that actually lines up pretty much with what I was forecasting to be the overall pattern throughout most of the winter. So if we do see this switch up very, very shortly, my winter forecast still has room to really grow into itself. So far, we've had a lot of cold in the southeast where I was expecting warmth, and we've had a lot of warmth in the north where I was expecting cold air. So I do desperately need a flip to happen for this forecast to really pan out. It's been very different than what I've been expecting. I guess kind of New England states, I expected kind of near normal conditions there, just some very light yellows and light blues, and it has been pretty close to normal for most of those regions. So that's kind of one of the bright spots there of that forecast. Getting into the teleconnections, you can see we expect a negative AO, especially after the 15th. It dips even further, but that is going to be slowly creeping towards positive as we close in towards the end of January. Beyond that point is pretty much a question mark. Same story here with our NAO, which you pretty much want this to be negative. This encourages some East Coast snowstorms and also some just colder air generally in the eastern United States when that is in its negative phase. You can see we are slightly negative now, but it's going to go much deeper negative after the 15th for quite a while, but again, still creeping towards positive just like the AO. And then on our PNA, we see a major flip here. And we're going to be positive pretty much through the 18th and 19th, but then we flip negative until about the end of the model run here. And the difference between this is that when it's in its positive phase, we expect colder than normal conditions in the east, and then when it's in its negative phase, we expect warmer than normal conditions in the east generally. Mostly this affects the west coast though. In its positive phase, we expect warmer than normal conditions in the west coast. In its negative phase, we expect the opposite, and this would explain why the GFS Ensemble model showed those colder than normal conditions for the west coast later on in the model run, because it expects that PNA to flip. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how do you think this upcoming February is going to go, even though it's a pretty long-range outlook? Weather Outlook said, I think that the first half of February is going to be very cold and stormy for the Pacific Northwest and a little warm and dry for the eastern United States. Then, as we head into the second half of February, it's going to be more snowy for the Northeast. And I don't necessarily say I agree because it's really long out, but I think it's pretty bold to be going with this specific of an outlook. So I definitely appreciated that there from Weather Outlooks. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Sebastian Tao, John Bembenek, James Wade, Dovi Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry LePan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aiden Mattis, alongside our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Alan Sherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Cat Bite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, Mark J., and our newest addition, Luke Falego. Anyway, if you would like to be on this Patreon screen, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comment down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.